and we'll go live in 3, 2, 1. And welcome to part 2 of Catching Up. I'm your host, Cody Batten.
It's been so long since we caught up that we need to catch up again.
This is my co-host, William Youngblood. We are 2.5 weeks since we've talked to each other, and so there's that. That's the podcast. So no, we've been busy. Super busy.
It's been crazy.
Yeah,
for sure.
It just proves that we don't make money doing this. We make money doing other things, and so
right. I have a job.
Put on the side burner every once in a while.
Yeah, I have a job I have to do and life to live. So we do this when we can, and we enjoy it. But
so I'm glad we can on a Monday night, and so we're gonna chit chat a little bit. We've got a couple of topics we kind of thought about, but we're gonna kind of wing it a little bit. We may talk about some current events, what's going on with Will. There's not much going on with me. I'm just busy with the day-to-day stuff. But Will, you want to take it off with part 2 of what was going on with you?
Yeah, I can totally. So give a little bit of an update. I was trying to think of a joke, and I was going to say, like, thanks for, like, the outpouring of love from the last one, because I literally haven't heard from anybody. So take that personally. Thank you. But my wife and I are doing okay. We appreciate your guys' concern to our 4 listeners. We appreciate it. We're doing better. We're still seeing a chiropractor. We'll say there has been steady pain. For those that maybe could relate, it's like those... that used to have maybe like 1 or 2 days a week where it's like, man, my neck and back really hurt. Pretty much just like every other day. So we're hoping that means things are getting more aligned than, more underlying issues kind of coming up. But we're getting that taken care of. We should be getting results of our MRI soon on that. And then the exciting news is that we did get a car to replace the one that we lost. Rest in peace. So we had a RAV4, and after the accident, we had kind of nicknamed it the Ravioli because it was kind of folded. And it was a Rav, and it made sense at the time. And it was like, we were sad for it. Like, we missed it. So we called it the little Ravioli. So we had to replace our little Ravioli. And, for those of you listening, I told Cody before, I didn't want to tell him what I did, but I just said, how did I put it? I said, I'd do something that maybe he wouldn't expect, or that maybe Dave Ramsey wouldn't approve of. And so Cody made some guesses as to what that might be. And so we're going to see live if Cody was right. So
can you remind me what my guess was? Because
I wrote them down just because I knew I was going to forget. So you had 3. One of them's a bonus. So really 2. Cody's guess was, first off, that it was not another RAV4, that I bought something different. The second one is that I took out a loan, but I paid about 50% or more down. So the surprising thing would be, instead of just paying all cash, that I did take out a loan and put 50%, at least 50% down. And then you said your bonus that you're kind of just tagging on the end was that I actually bought 2 cars, because I technically do sometime need 2 cars, unfortunately.
Yeah. That's my logic is like, one, I don't think it's a RAV4 because we can't replace ravioli. Ravioli deserves its own spot in our brains and our minds. And so there's nothing that can replace it. So I thought, okay, well, he's going to get a different car. And then my thoughts were with I knew you had talked about maybe building some credit. And so we've talked about, like, while rates are kind of low, maybe doing like, half down and then just having a small loan, just kind of pay off, just build some credit. And then bonus, of course, is, you bought 2 cars. And then the bonus that you didn't mention was, I think that you bought a Prius and a Tesla because gas is expensive. But then you told me when you bought
that one down.
Yeah, and it was like way before gas started skyrocketing. So never mind. I was wrong on that one, guys. So the bonus is wrong, but I'm still got hope with my other one.
Okay, so I'll go down the list. All right, and you're going to I hope you're ready for this. Do you want me to start at number 1 or start at the bonus?
Let's start at the bonus.
Okay. While I still do need 2 cars eventually, we just bought the 1 so far.
Okay.
So I was looking, and I have kind of been looking at that second car. It's just things are really overpriced right now. So with the first one, it was kind of nice because I've got the money coming from the insurance to cover that. But with this other one, we're just going to have to pay for it. So I'm still looking at that, still trying to figure that out if I can sometime soon. So sorry, your bonus guess was wrong. I was trying to get 2 cars, but it just didn't work out in this time frame yet. So excuse me. So still looking at that second one. Okay, and then your number 1 guess. So we did buy another RAV4. So we replaced the ravioli, sadly. So we ended up the ravioli was a 2014 RAV4 LE. And so we ended up going with a 2013 RAV4 Limited. So basically we traded a year, which it's pretty much the same car. So a year of age with a nicer vehicle. So the Limited's about 2 editions up than the one we had. So it's got all those kind of bonus things that are kind of fun and nice. And then mileage was pretty comparable, between the two. Nothing that was too big of a difference. So it is silver. So we're trying to think of a name. Like obviously we could go like Ravioli 2.0. I mean, that would be there. Well, we're trying to think maybe if you guys have an idea of what we can name our silver Rav, let me know. I mean, there's plenty of stuff. You can just go like Silver Bullet, Silver Surfer, stuff like that. Silver Lining. We did think about that.
Silver Ravioli. I'm just kidding.
If you can make it work. Yeah. So if you guys have any suggestions for what we should name our car, let me know. Or Cody, if you come up with anything.
Okay.
I'd be interested to hear it. So, so far, I think Silver Surfer is
Silver
winning.
Surfer. Oh my gosh. That's great.
Or Silver Lining. I like that one too. So yeah, if you think of a name, let me know. It's hard to get Rav in there. Like my sister and her husband, they got a 4Runner and they named it Forest. Because you get the 4 and then it's Run Forest. Like it's really good. But I can't do that with Rav. Like how do you merge Rav into something? So sorry, Cody. So far you are 0 for 2.
I'm 0 for 2. Dang it.
On your guesses. Your last one is partially correct.
Okay.
So I did the unthinkable. Don't come after me. But I did take out a loan on the car.
Oh no.
Even though I could have paid cash. Because I wanted to build a little bit of credit. And then also right now, just a little bit of flexibility as we're still waiting on some of the money to come from insurance. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to dump it all there. And then we can't really do much. So this gives us a little bit of options in the meantime until we get that money all the way in and then we can cover it if needed. I was planning on putting a good bit down. I was thinking probably, I think you're probably right. I think I was thinking around the 50% mark. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing we kind of ran into is the smaller the loan, the less favorable a bank's going to be, or whoever's loaning you the money with their terms, because then there's less money on them to possibly make back. So basically looking at the math, it actually worked out a little bit better as far as in interest we'd be paying if we actually paid less down. Does that make sense? So like the loan was larger, but our rate was so much considerably less that it almost would have been like we'd been paying the same interest on the smaller loan as we did the bigger loan.
Right.
Just because it was such a big difference, between those two. So I ended up putting about a third down. But then if I needed to, I could just take the funds that I have and pay off as much as I want to, like I could take a few grand at a time and just kind of pay the thing off really quick. So I ended up doing that. Now I know from money wise, you'd say, hey, if you've got the money, why not just pay it off? So again, here's my reasoning. It may not make sense to everybody, but it made sense to me at the time. And so, my wife and I talked about it and we feel like it was good. Is first off, as I said, the flexibility of it, because we're still waiting on this money coming from insurance. We didn't want to just commit, dump all this in and hope we get everything back. From the insurance, we didn't want to lose any of our other savings. So we just did a little bit, and then whatever comes in, we can then readjust and make sure we can get that, covered. And then also too, we did want to build some credit. We don't have a lot of credit history. And so just having this on there, yes, we're going to have to be paying interest, on it. But this isn't going to be a loan that we're going to have for a really long time. We're going to just have it for a little bit, and we're just going to pay it off. And so it made sense, from that standpoint, just to, it'll be a little more expensive, but we wanted to build a little bit of credit, because ultimately I know there's alternatives to buying a house where you don't need as much on credit, but it does help. It helps you get a little bit more favorable in that bigger purchase, by doing this now. So that's my reasoning. Dave Ramsey's probably listening to this and is going to come after me. But I made what I felt was the best choice for us. So personal finance is personal, not in Dave's absolutes. I know we talked about him a few weeks ago, in our video on him. So I felt like that was the best, decision for us. I will say from experience, this was my first time buying a car from a dealership. I bought it used, the last car used. But I'd say from a dealership, it was definitely like big takeaways for those of you that, I guess I'll try to make this a lesson. One is it's going to take you a long time to get the car. So even after we had went to see it on a Friday, we had slept on it and we're like, okay, let's go get it on the Saturday. It still took like 3.5 hours. From the time we walked in, said we are buying, and I even called them ahead of time. I was like, I'm coming in to buy this car. Let me know what I need to do. And it still took 3.5 hours. So just plan a day that you're going to be sitting there signing papers, getting all this stuff done. Because it is a big headache. And then also big thing too, just as far as mindset goes, and this was our mindset going into it, my wife and I's, is we were focused on the total amount that we were paying, because obviously we're looking at insurance going, okay, how much are you going to pay us? So we need to stay somewhat within that realm, right? That we're going to be getting. But all the, once you look at, agree on the car price, after that, all the dealership is going to focus on is your monthly payment. That's all they're going to try to focus on. And so I would just say beware of that, is because something may look good. Like they were kind of throwing out different ideas and I had to like sort through them all, because at first I was like, okay, these are the terms I want. This is what it's going to look like. Great. And then they kept saying, well, we added on this for you and we kept your payment under this amount. And I was like, okay, but what did that look like? And they like doubled the length of the loan that it was going to be. And I'm just like, no, I don't want to. It was insane how long some of these loans could get. And they were like, but we added on this $4,000 package on top of it. And I was like, no, I don't want that. So I'd say, at least for me, looking at it instead at the total cost that you're paying, rather than, oh, what does my monthly payment come out to? Can I afford that? Sure. But is it increasing? How much is it increasing your total that you're paying by? Because that would have pushed us way over what insurance is going to provide. And so then we're stuck paying the difference. So I guess that'd be my big takeaway. That was kind of a good learning experience, is always have in the back of your mind, what is your total number that you're trying to pay? Instead of looking at it as like, well, I can afford that few hundred a month. But if you're overpaying in total, it still doesn't help you. So,
no, it's crazy. One, I'm over, or I guess I get a half, maybe.
You get
like,
a half,
maybe
I would say, out of 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, half out of 3, huh? That's pretty good.
Great job, Cody. You were kind of took some wild guesses, so I'll give you credit for
I did.
that.
I was kind of going on a whim there, because like you not buying a RAV4 was like kind of risky. So I was like, I'm going to go with the risky option.
We just needed a car, and we knew the RAV4. We loved it. Like, we loved that last car. We wanted to run it until it died.
Yeah.
And so we were very sad to lose it. And so we're like, let's just go get another one.
Yeah. Yeah. You're not kidding about like, loans, the way that they're sold to you.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm actually getting in this myself. Our company got a new software I've been experimenting with, and it has its own financing system. And I used to use a financing system because I'm not a fan of it, but my customers were needing it, and it's my job to provide what they want, right?
Yeah.
And so the new system we've got, it already I create the quote, and then it comes up with the sales pitch already built into the quote of a financing option that they could choose from. They just click it, and it's always like, it never tells you how much the loan is. It just tells you how much you're going to pay per month.
Yep.
And it's always around $150 to $200, no matter how big my loan or how big my quote is. I wrote a quote for like $1,000, and it was like, pay this off in like $150 a month. And it was only for like a year.
Yeah.
Okay. I did another quote for 10 grand, and it was like $183 a month. I was like, huh. And it was something outrageous, like 60 months or something like insane.
Yeah.
Not 60. It was actually more than that. It was like, oh man, I think it was like 200 and it was 60. So it was like a $12,000 loan on like an almost $10,000 project. And that was good. Like their credit was amazing. Like I've seen some insane loans where there was like, $500 loan fee, just origination fee. And then I had one customer that was like about $5,500 for a $3,000 project. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But the way that they were being sold, and sometimes I kind of feel bad about it, but like, what are you going to do? But the way that it was being sold through the quoting system was $200 a month, no matter what. And $200 a month is kind of, it's not too bad to most people. I could do that. I could do $200 a month. Yeah. And so now I'm just thinking like, oh, I could have a fence now for $200 a month. But yeah, I started seeing it through my own software. I was like, wow. And just the way that you mentioned it, it's like, it's just about the monthly payment. It's just what you're paying per month. And then you're never really told. You're not even told how big the loan is. You have to ask for that.
Yeah.
They're just telling you how much it is and how long it's going to go for.
Yeah. That's the thing that was like, I had to push them on it, and maybe, I don't know if they weren't used to it, but they kept saying that like, we added this on for you and we kept your, your payments under this amount. And I'm like, okay, sounds good. But what did you do? And it added on again, like it was like $4,000 onto the total. And this is a used car. It's not, that it's not an exorbitant amount. And so, I'd say be wary of that, of it may sound good in the monthly payment, but just be, look out for them, because that's their sales thing. They're going to say, hey, you can make these payments, but man, some of these, as you're saying, like 60 plus month, loans is what they were offering. And they're like, we can keep it under this, but I'm like, no, that doesn't help me. And, just so make sure, I would say any project you're looking at financing, make sure you also look at what is the total. Cause monthly helps, right? If you can afford it, from that way, but make sure you're not overpaying, on the long run, just cause you're worried about a monthly payment.
It's crazy.
So it's nuts. But
60 months, 72 months. It
was nuts. The payment was super low, but then you looked at all the interest we were paying, and it was just, insane. So I'd say that was a great learning experience from that. And then if I change my mind tomorrow, I could just pay it off if I wanted to.
Exactly.
I could pay it off. Yeah, I'd pay some interest. But again, rates are really low right now, and I got a starter rate. It wasn't like, oh wow, that's amazing, but it was pretty decent. It wasn't anything too high that I was like, oh, that's scary.
Right.
So I felt comfortable moving forward with that. Yeah. If we buy a second car, I'll probably look at that one. It'll be very inexpensive, so I would just go cash, because all the fees and stuff added on into financing. A really cheap car under 10 grand, I'm just going to pay cash for it. Right. At least that's my kind of viewpoint, on that. That's probably what I would do. It was just in this case, I was like, you know what? It's really not going to hurt us. We have a little bit of wiggle room. So we went ahead and did that. But yeah, man, it helps having that monthly margin, every month, that you can decide to do stuff like this. Stuff like, yeah, I'll decide to take out a little bit of a loan. I think I can afford it for a little bit, and then gives us some long-term flexibility with it. So
when you think the insurance money comes back or comes in, do you think you'll still continue those payments, or do you think you would just pay it off then?
We still got to decide. I think we'll see how we feel once it comes in. Cause we're just waiting on everything to kind of be finalized. It should be done soon. But I think we may take like a chunk of it and just go ahead and pay it off. And then maybe take so instead of, I don't know. Yeah, I think we just have to decide it then, but maybe take another, quarter or third and just pay it off. And then that really reduces your back end. So instead of, looking at a 24, 32 or 48 month, whatever, you're trimming down the back end of your loan so that you're only making payments for a little bit of time. So we're not stuck with this long term. But again, if anything happens, then at least I have the money. So then it's like, okay, we're done, and then I can just pay it off, and then we're done with it. So that's at least the route I decided to go. But you guys let me know if you're listening. If you're like, if you disagree, that's totally fine. I just in the moment, that's what I decided to do. But I totally see the merits of either way. Like I know people would say take out as big a loan as you can. No, don't pay, pay as little down. And then other people are like, if you can pay cash, you should always pay cash. So that's the way we decided to go with this one. So we'll see long term, if we regret it or not.
Right. That's cool. I mean, because it makes sense of like a flexibility standpoint of like I've got the money, but like that would suck if I just spent all my money and then with all the crazy things that are happening right now in the world and the way gas prices are going up, the talks of like things stalling and the market's not crashing, but things slowing down. Yeah. Like it'd be nice to have some of that money available. And so I like that. I like that flexibility, especially that that you've got the money somewhere. Mm-hmm. Right now you could pay it off and the money's coming. That was supposed to go to this anyway, but you needed the car now. So you went ahead and did something.
Exactly.
That's also helping you get a little credit going, which you, in a sense, you're paying for, which in some cases,
you are
maybe worth it. And then you're kind of buying that flexibility, and then being able to keep some cash on hand. So it makes sense.
It's definitely the logic behind it. So, we are paying a little bit more, but for us, it's worth it for all the things that you just said.
Right.
So, but that was good.
And I want everybody to know that from a risk standpoint, you're still good because you still have the money.
That's true. That's one of the reasons that
there is no risk right now.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons we were so comfortable doing that is so you have risk when you overextend yourself. And let's say we didn't have the money and we bought this car and we didn't have the money coming in, like say from insurance. We just went out and bought a car. If something happens, we're going to be stuck with this monthly payment that we somehow have to fit into our budget. And we can make it work with the margin that we have now. But because we have the money elsewhere, we can utilize it for what we best feel. And if anything changes, like, anything goes wrong and we're like, we need to get rid of this. Boom, take the money, pay it off. So there's no really risk to us in this because the money's there. We can utilize it how we want. It's working for us. And then if something changes, we can take it and pay off the car and then we're done, So really don't have to worry about that. So that's a good point as well. And that was one of the reasons we were more comfortable doing it. It's just because we already have the money. So,
and for the next foreseeable future, your car may and probably will increase in value.
Possibly.
Just because of the used car market right now. And that's a very odd thing, and that's very weird. And I'm not recommending people just start buying cars.
Invest in cars.
But you are in a position right now where that is a thing, and so that kind of you could sell the car and probably get your money back, even if it took you a while to get the money from the insurance. Let's say it just decides to take months or something like that, and all of a sudden you like need the cash or something. You could just sell the car and probably get all the money back. I mean, it's going to keep its value at least for that period of time. Maybe not over like 10 years or something like that, but
Yeah, it'll start to decrease after that. But we're hoping this car, lasts us a good while. So, and then hopefully maybe get a second car. We'll see. It's just like the worst time to buy a car and we needed to buy two.
Does it have what is it? Android Auto?
Like an AI, or are you talking about the
kind of like
when I say AI,
car,
I was saying like the interface. That's what I meant.
Yeah, it's interface. They've got like Android interface. I don't know if it's I think all like wasn't it like new 2018 ones? The Toyotas had Android Auto or something like that.
No, it's just got your basic like your basic display with it does have like Bluetooth and plug-in and all that kind of stuff. It does have maps and XM radio as well.
Thanks.
So that is helpful to have the maps right in there.
Those useless heated seats for Phoenix?
My wife's been using them. Okay. It's
really?
gotten, yeah. In the winter
Nice.
for like 2 days, you could use it. So
Nice.
free range, but it does have the heated seats. It's got a lot of different automated stuff. We do like this one has a sunroof, and our last one did not. So we've liked doing that. Of like the weather's really nice. We'll just open all the windows and stuff and just drive. And so we have like that. It does have leather seats, which in summertime we are not going to love. But then we also weighed out of like they are very easy to clean. Like compared to our cloth, where like everything stuck to it and like all the dirt was always there. With leather, I mean, you just wipe them clean. So that will be the trade-off. I think we'll see if we regret, because it may be pretty hot in the summer. You know, maybe sweating a little bit. So make sure you got the sunshade up and that kind of stuff. So anyway, enough about me. I heard you did. You mentioned a little bit ago. I think you did have some exciting like work stuff going on. I know you had some hectic and stressful work stuff going on. It's kept you busy, but I think you said you did have some other exciting stuff. I
got a raise. I kind of gave myself a raise, and then I kind of didn't, because I work with my dad, and so I've had the same salary for about 2 years almost, and he's like, those are rookie numbers, you need to bump them up. Yeah. And I was like, no, I don't want to do it because I want to hire some more workers, and he's like, no, you're gonna do it. And I was like, okay, fine. So I gave myself / he gave me a raise.
Nice.
And that's nice. That's
it feels good.
It helps the margin a little bit more. Again, though, I did notice, and we had talked about this a long time ago, is one of the first things we talked about was like, how do you want to increase your margin? If you increase your income, you got to increase some other stuff.
You do.
Like your giving, if you tithe 10%, and your IRA, your retirement investing, and all those percentages that I
wonderful
worked out.
Taxes.
Yeah. And I'm putting it in. I'm like, man, I'm going to have an extra like certain amount of a month. It's going to be great. And I put it in, and it's like, and it's like, I got an extra $50. I'm like,
I know,
what
it's
is
always
this?
It's like, oh no. But at the end of everything, oh man.
Yeah. So I'm like, man, I could have just like cut out cable. I'm just kidding.
Right. But I know. Yeah.
I don't have cable, but if you do, you should cut it because it's expensive.
Yeah. And it's easier to get quick wins that way, as we talked about. Like, that's why cutting expenses can be so helpful really early on, because you get those immediate 100% into your margin. Yeah.
But it's nice. I mean, all that other stuff, like, now there's that 15% going to retirement is increased.
It's helpful.
So, it's nicer. Luckily, our expenses didn't change. So really the emergency fund, it stays the same. And so didn't really have to worry about that. If you want to consider your retirement contributions or something like that, your emergency fund, which you shouldn't, but if you did, then obviously we want to increase it. But since it's just expenses and our expenses didn't change, we didn't have lifestyle creep as it's called. Then therefore, and that's a thing that you need to look at, by the way. Not talking to you, but our audience.
I'm always. I need to look at it. Beware.
If you get a raise, make sure there's no lifestyle creep, or make sure you keep an eye on it, because then you would need to increase your emergency fund, and then you may not have as much margin as you thought. So run those numbers and see what it actually is before you start, buying stuff or getting HBO Max or whatever the crap is.
Right.
I was in Sam's Club, getting my once a month big old tub of protein from Sam's Club. It's really cheap there. And I walk by it every time without fail. The AT&T guy looks at me and goes, "Hey, who do you have?" And I'm like, "I've got Charter." And he's like, "Nah, that sucks. Come here." I'm like, "You know what? Fine." Because in the back of my mind, I'm like, I got to raise. Let's see what he's got. He's like, "What do you got?" And I'm like, 50 down. He's like, "I'm going to give you 300 down." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "It's going to be 55 a month. How much you pay?" And I'm like, "I pay 30. And he's like, "Oh man, that's like 10 times more for like less than double the money. Like this is no brainer. You a gamer?" And I'm like, "I like the game." And he's like, "Yeah, this is perfect." And he is selling me hard. And I had to call my wife and apologize. I used her as an excuse to get out. I was like, "Oh man, no, I gotta call the boss. The boss is gonna tell me no, so I gotta call."
Always easy excuse.
He's like, "Nah, man, I know it, right? Women, right?" And I'm like, okay." And so I walk away, and I call my wife. I'm like, "I'm so sorry, I just used you." But dude, like, I was thinking, I was like $15 more a month, I would have like 300 down. that's some fast internet. And then I thought, am I going to use that?
Right.
And then I started thinking about it longer as I'm getting my protein. I'm like, I'm not going to use that. Like, what am I sacrificing that extra 15? You know, maybe I'll download a video game quicker or something. But like, you know, our streams are fine. Occasionally, sometimes Zoom hates us. We stream Hulu fine, and I can get my work done. So what was the point? So I walked away.
That's true. But yeah, man, that lifestyle creep, you get a little bit of margin. It wants to kind of sneak out. Good idea too is like always, if you aren't at like 15% for retirement, or maybe you want to hit another savings goal, if you get like a certain percentage raise, just take like 1% of it or 2% of it and move it into something else that's like more long term, because it's extra money anyway. Like that's extra money for you. Might as well take just a little piece of it and increase, because you're not going to miss it. I mean, it wasn't there before. So you're still getting a little bonus on top of it. But man, that's exciting. Good for you. I'm happy. I know 2 years is a while. So, you know, well deserved, and you've been working hard. So that's great to get a little bit of a raise. And also say for anybody else that's getting year end, I know we're having our year end discussions at work as far as like bonuses and stuff, and, you know, raises for last year. And so it's also another sad reminder that if you're not getting a raise that's at least inflation, that technically you're losing money. So inflation was pretty high this year. So if your raise isn't at least with inflation, then technically you have less buying power with your money than you did last year. So sorry about that. It's a sad reminder for myself as well, because it'll probably not be that high. And so I'll have to deal with that, of losing a little bit of margin with it. But it's kind of a good way to compare what you're getting yearly. It may sound good, be like, oh yeah, 3%, you know, raise. But when inflation is as high as it is, it's really not a raise. So.
I think it's 7, almost 8 right now.
Yeah. Which I don't know most people that are going to be giving out year raises. I mean, I guess if you work for a smaller company, you know, maybe that's the case. So you may not see it. I'm not saying it's reason to quit your job or anything, but just know that technically you just have less money than you did last year, even though the number's a little bit higher.
It is definitely there's some crazy like wages out there for new hires in certain positions.
Yeah.
Like Target released just today, I think, that they were going to bump some people and some starting at $24 an hour.
My goodness.
In certain areas. And I don't know what those areas are, but they said that the bottom was like 18, and then of like, I guess like lower income areas, and then the higher income areas would be like 24. So I would assume that's like New York and like places in California.
Yeah.
But to think like $24 an hour starting at Target, either that like Target's like, we're trying to help people and or inflation's that bad.
Yeah.
And or the job market's that bad. And I think it's all the above.
Yeah, combination.
The job market's insane. People are going back to work. February was actually a really, really good year. I'm sorry, year, stupid.
It felt like a year. That's how long
it felt
it was.
like a year. That's what it was. But it was a really good month for employment. But it was not at the rate that it should have been for the year thus far. And then last year was pretty rough. So we're not where we should be. And I can, as a guy that's running a company, I can tell you right now, it is hard to find people to work, and it's hard to afford work. Because I can start somebody at 15 an hour right now, and I'm thinking like, oh man, Target's like 24 an hour. How am I going to compete? How am I going to compete with somebody working in the AC versus coming out helping me build a fence in the heat for less money?
It's hard.
I'm like, I don't want to be here, you know?
Yeah,
I'm going to Target.
Yeah, like I'm gonna go work at Target. Yeah.
And so it's been really difficult for small businesses because we don't have like, you know, your 401ks and your health insurance plans, stuff like that. It's been difficult. So people that usually work in fields that I help with, like also help like an HVAC business, stuff like that. Usually they gotta love the work. And you know, so for hiring people that are qualified, it's a little bit easier. But hiring new hires, it's or, people that are just willing to like just get into the market, it's very difficult.
Yeah, definitely. We've noticed that on our team as well. Like, it used to be like we had a lot of options. And we've got decent options. We just actually hired somebody and then we're looking for another hire, but it's just a lot more limited than it used to be. Instead of having, maybe like 10 candidates we're interested in, maybe it's like 5 now. That we're kind of whittling down for those jobs. So yeah, definitely an interesting market right now. Might be, time for some people to put feelers out there, and then other people, it's just maybe have a little bolder discussion on what raises you can get, or if you're Cody, just give yourself a raise. So
I'm just kidding. Simple.
Just giving raises out to himself. Hasn't done it in 2 years, so it shows you how focused he is on the growing the business rather than his salary. So, but yeah, I think that's great. I think it's well deserved. So good for you on getting that.
Yeah, we're trying. It's building a business it's fun. And you do have, sometimes you stop thinking about like yourself until you're like, I'm barely making it, and then and you're like, okay, I should probably increase this a little bit. And then sometimes when you see the all the profit and stuff like that in the company, you want to reinvest it in the company. And then sometimes you forget of like, you hear about people that started businesses, they didn't pay themselves for like a year. My dad did that when he first started. He didn't take out a single thing. He reinvested, and then after a year, he started taking that salary. But he had to work somewhere else to be able to do that.
Yeah.
And I've heard of stories of like that happening, and then the owner, was sleeping in their car, just trying to make ends meet with the company. And props to the entrepreneur, but unfortunately, I've got a family. I've got a I can't entrepreneur like that.
Trying to make balance. Yeah, trying not to do that extreme, but a little more.
Luckily, I've been blessed to help a business that already had a structure, a form. It's small, but from going from like 1 to 2 people to 10 plus, that's been awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully, though, one of these days down the road, I'd like to start that 0 to 1. It's kind of one of my goals, is like start from scratch. But I would like to be a little bit more, have a little bit extra in that emergency fund, have a little bit on the side to where I could potentially, take off a couple months or maybe work part-time somewhere. And then, focus myself into a 0 to 1. And then if it doesn't work, I just go right back to what I was doing, helping other businesses. So
yeah, that'd be cool. Get a little flexibility with that. And then you can, start something from the ground up and see what you can make. Yeah, that'd be fun.
We're almost time, but something I did want to mention is I have been starting some side hustles.
Nice.
Doing a little experimenting. Just like day labor, asking people, do they want stuff done? Seeing what talents that I have, or not really necessarily talents, but just things that I can do.
Yeah.
And seeing how I can help people. So I know how to build a fence. I'm not great at it, but I was able to convince a brother-in-law of mine who had tools and a trailer. I said, I'll trade my knowledge and my understanding of building a fence. You bring in your tools and your truck and your trailer. We'll work together and we'll go build this fence for this person.
Nice.
And I was able to like do the order, do all this stuff. And so we I made $400 on that little weekend deal. And then I was able to do like helping somebody like take down a porch, take it to the landfill. Did not make very much money on that because I had no idea
it's a lot of work.
What I was doing. That's a lot of work. And we did a lump sum. We're like, just give us this amount. We'll figure it out. Landfill cost a lot of money. I'm just like, So it was way more than one truck trip. And then I helped out with a HVAC unit. So just about every Saturday last month, and then one Saturday this month, I've kind of done something. And so it was my goal just to kind of see what that's like. I'll probably stop this month. I'll probably, because I want to spend some time with the wife, and it's starting to get warmer. We want to do some stuff like hiking and spend our Saturdays. But when it's cold and the wife is like, you know what, I'm just going to sit here and watch TV. You can go do whatever you want. I went out and tried to see what I could do. So
yeah, that's fun. I need to do more stuff like that.
Yeah. It gives a little perspective on like manual labor too. Like it kind of, I felt like I had more respect for the job that I had, which was sales instead of actually building it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I know how to build it, but like this sucks. So
it's a lot.
It gave me a little bit of like a wake up call of, hey, you don't have to go out here and do this all day. So shut up when life gets hard,
Right. Exactly. No, I'm with you. I was shoveling gravel and planting trees and stuff this weekend, but I was not smart and I was doing it for free because trying to help somebody out. So I should have charged. Now that's the Cody lesson, is find out a way to maybe make some money. Yeah. If you're good at something, never do it for free. So try to make it work, but I need to do more stuff like that. Those little side hustles, if you have a little time here or there, they can really add up for sure. Mm-hmm. So as you said, just taking a little bit of time, maybe on a weekend, and that's not a bad return for that. And you get to get outside or do stuff that you maybe otherwise wouldn't. So yeah, I need to find more stuff like that. I think that's good.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Like you could if you know something, you could tutor it. I tutor guitar a little bit. Every once in a while, I have like a math student. I'll help them with their math homework. And so, it's just it's that little stuff, but it's that little stuff that lets you spend it or, save a certain goal or spend it to something that you may want. And, that's kind of nice, because now I saved all that and then I put it all away, but there was like $50 extra. I'm like, you know what? I got $50 now. And I was thinking like, what would I want to do with it? I have no idea what I'm going to do with it, but I got $50 and I'm going to spend some time.
Man, go crazy.
Figure it out.
$50.
Go crazy. I was like, as a kid, I'm like, what would I have done? And I was like, I would have probably bought the next Call of Duty.
I was going to say video games would have been high on your list at that time.
Now I'm like, I don't really, I play some, but most games are actually free now that I play. So it's like, I don't know. I'll probably invest it. I'll probably put it in.
That's our fun now.
I might put it in like a crypto and just watch it and then be really disappointed when it doesn't work out.
Yeah, just watch it go to zero, and that's your fun.
That was my fun.
Your fun ride. Just pick a random crypto.
Yeah,
that's awesome. So good stuff, man.
I think we're about time. That was good. It was good catching up. Next time we're probably not going to be as frequent as we used to be. We try to be weekly. It's probably going to be every other week. But we'll still try to be weekly. But our schedules are changing a little bit. Work is starting to get crazy for the both of us. So it's really more of a do it when we can. But we really do enjoy doing this, and we're going to keep doing it. So if you guys have any questions, have any topics you want us to go through, just visit our website, www.willandcody.com. I almost put in my company website because I've said it so many times
plug
today.
The brand.
Just plug the brand. No, please don't. I don't need any more phone calls right now.
Okay, he's busy.
Yeah, don't bother me. Unless you're like in Northeast Georgia, then reach out to me. I can help you out. But yeah, it's crazy. So contact us there, reach out to us, and hit us up if you got any questions. We're planning on doing another Guru review. We haven't decided who we're going to do yet. We've got a couple ideas. So I'm not telling you when we're going to do it, but we do plan to do another one sometime. We really enjoyed the Dave Ramsey one, and we had some feedback on it. It was awesome. So somebody told me we didn't criticize as much as they thought they would. You're like, oh yeah, you're gonna rip Dave a new one. I thought we were rough too. They're like, man, you're so nice to Dave. I'm like,
so maybe we need to do a part 2 where we just try to rip face and just go all out. So I guess we need to be more mean. I don't know if that's us, but
let's do all the mean memes.
Yeah,
that's Dave Ramsey part 2. So yeah, we're looking at doing it next, another one. So if you have a financial guru, somebody that you like to listen to in podcast, YouTube, even somebody like small on TikTok or something like that, we'd love to read about them, look at their content, see what we think, and give you our opinion. So if you know somebody, hit us up on our contact us page, hit us up on social media, and we'll take a look at that. So, but anyway, guys, we will see you next time.